Hello, and welcome to My Xbox and Me, episode 277, I believe. I am one of your hosts, MC Fixer. I'm actually your only host this week. We're trying something a little bit different with the video portion of the episode, so please let me know if you're watching the video over on youtube.com/mcfixer. That's wrong. youtube.com/myxboxandme. I do apologize. If you like how we do it when I do a solo episode. The plan is never to do solo episodes, but unfortunately Kresh still cannot make it onto the show, and I couldn't pull anybody in last minute this week, unfortunately. For those who don't know what My Xbox and Me is our weekly Xbox podcast right here on youtube.com/myxboxandme, and of course all podcast services, iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, Amazon, we're everywhere. You can find us. We've been going now for 277 weeks and never missed a gosh darn week. And I'm not planning on starting today. So, I'll give you a little bit of a life update before we get into the Xbox news, which thank goodness, there's a couple of little tidbits. That we can go off of this week. But life update number one. Unfortunately, the time has come. I remember all those weeks ago, me and Kresh talking about COVID. Oh, are we going to get it? Did we get it? Blah, 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 blah. Unfortunately, I do have COVID right now as I'm speaking to you. I tested positive for it yesterday night. I'm extremely tired. I am super fatigued. Standing up is draining. Doing anything, honestly, is draining. My eyes are absolutely killing me. But yeah, I'm okay. It very much seems I don't have the terrible side of it, at least yet, which hopefully I don't get it. I'm hoping I don't need to go into hospital again or anything like that, because that would be super nerve-wracking and super annoying. So, yeah, here we stand with you today, MC Fixer, doing the show. It's the 10th of the 1st, 2021. And again, I want to apologize because I know, number one, to Patreon supporters, you should be getting this live and you should be getting this before other people, which I've not been able to produce just yet. My first week being back at work properly hasn't quite gone to plan, unfortunately, with all the COVID stuff. And then on top of that, we got some other bits which I'm going to get into a little bit, but some people won't know and some people may not even care. For those who do know, though, we have a Discord, or I do anyway. MC Fixer has a Discord, and unfortunately that Discord was hacked. It got hacked by one of my mods was hacked, unfortunately, and someone grabbed our Discord, tried to hold it up for ransom for $60. Yeah, I don't know. Don't ask me why they decided to hold it up for ransom for $60, but that's what they tried to do. And not only that, but they decided to delete all of the content that was in the Discord, and change all of the server names, so all of like the sub-genre names, where it's like games and just chatting, and there's that personal stuff in there for people who are having bad times and stuff. Decided to change all of those to the M word. For those who don't know, because maybe you've never watched a video before in your life, or you're a new listener, I'm mixed race, half white, half black. So obviously that touches me in a way and affects me in a lot of ways that I wouldn't necessarily want to have to go into here, but nonetheless, my life has been an open book to you guys for the last 6 years, 5 years, however long it is I've been doing this, and it ain't gonna stop today. So big shout out to the mods who did get it all cleaned up. Shout out to Avenged, big deal. Avenged went in there, cleaned up the Discord, tried to get as many people back in as she could. Again, if you would like to be a part of the Discord and you're not, feel free to DM me on Twitter at MC Fixer. Also, feel free to DM me on Discord. You can find it on my Twitter profile and stuff like that. I'm approachable. Come and join our community. We're trying to grow it ever so slightly every day. And I think that was like the part that broke me the most, to be honest with you, was the part where I have to then go to myself, oh, someone decided that they wanted to be a awful human being and just destroy something that we had been building for many, many, many years. So yeah, that was hard. It was hard for me. It was hard for me to take. But nonetheless, here we stand. We're here today. COVID and all that, it doesn't matter. Let's give a shout out to our Patreon producers this month. You've got the one and only Al Tribesman coming in hot, supporting my Xbox and me and keeping us on the show, keeping us on the lights, keeping the lights on. I don't know what I say. Again, COVID. I've got COVID brain. I'm sorry. Next up, we've got FNH Paul, who's coming through and saving the day and helping us as well keep the lights on and keeping everyone fed out here in my Xbox and me territory. And of course, last but not least, the one and only Aaron Guard. Once again, really do appreciate all you guys' support. No matter what level it is you support at, it means the world to me that you continue to support me over on Patreon. We spoke about it a little bit on last week's episode, which is it was funny because we spoke about it on last week's episode about how supporting content creators on platforms they actually want to be on, so Patreon, which then allows you to go wherever you want to go, right? And then Twitch went down, and I sat there and watched Twitch go down again, and it just proved to me even more so that we can't trust platforms, unfortunately, because they could be the reason why you lose viewership, lose money, can't pay your bills. So it's a hard one. I won't stick on too much of that. We're an Xbox podcast, so we will get into the Xbox news this week. I can't really do what's been in my box this week. Unfortunately, I haven't played anything really. I've been playing on the PlayStation 5 mostly this last week because I've been playing Demon Souls, which is a very good game. If you own a PlayStation 5, if you're able to have one, you should definitely check it out. But yeah, that's all I've been able to play this last few weeks. I was looking for the games that are coming out this month specifically, and there really isn't anything that really catches my eye. Obviously, you've got Scott Pilgrim. That game comes out, which has been published by Ubi. Maybe I'll grab a copy of that and check it out so I can come back here and talk about it with you guys. And honestly, I'd love honest feedback from you guys. I know the solo episodes are maybe not what you signed up for when you first started to hear my Xbox and me, but if you think we shouldn't do them, please let me know. I just feel like I've made a commitment to be in your lives each and every week, no matter what, if there's someone here to host it with me. And I hope that I still do a good enough job in talking about video games. And you guys come here for my opinions on video games and whatever is going on in the world and news. So I hope I still do a good job. I hope you do enjoy it still. I would love the feedback. Again, tweet at me at MCFixer. I see everything. I see all the DMs. I may not be able to respond to everyone, but I definitely do read them all. So please, 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 please do let me know if it's something you think is worth doing. That's enough chit chat. Let's jump straight into our first news story. Again, I'm trying something new here. Boom! There we go. So if you're watching the video, I've just gone to a different screen so you guys can see the stories I'm talking about. As if the story is my guest. Again, production value, not quite gone up to where I need it to, but it's here nonetheless. First story is taken from IGN. It was written by Joe Screbbles, so shout out to him. And the title reads as this: there is no Microsoft/Duracell deal, meaning Xbox has to use AA batteries in controllers. So for those of you who didn't see this one going around, I will read it, but just to give a quick MC Fixer version of the story, I guess. The rumor was that Duracell and Xbox had come to a deal, hence why Xbox had never had internal battery packs in their controllers. Let's read through this and we'll go from there. This one again from Joe Scrabble, shout out. Amid new speculation caused by comments from Duracell spokesperson, IGN understands that there is no deal forcing Xbox to use AA batteries in its controllers. Speaking to Stealth Optional, Duracell's UK marketing manager, Luke Anderson, sparked speculations by saying, quote, "There's always been this partnership with Duracell and Xbox. It's a constant agreement that Duracell and Xbox have in place. The deal is for the OEM to supply the battery product for the Xbox consoles and also the controller batteries. So that deal has been going on for a while. It's been going on for a while, and I think it will be going on for a while more." So that's the end of the quote from Luke Anderson from Duracell. Just taking that quote, personally, I didn't read into it the way other people read into it. I see a few media outlets go running with it, and oh my god, Xbox have a deal with Duracell. That's why they refuse to put a battery pack in. I'm just not that guy. Maybe I should be. Would you guys like for me to come on there and speculate a little bit more? Like, we can start putting our tinfoil hats on, and oh, here we go, magnifying glasses up. It's just not who I am, though. Like, I love to talk positively about the industry, and not to say I won't get negative when I need to, but this story just seemed like it came out of left field for me, where it was just a case of like, is this really what we're going to say then constitutes as them having a deal? Yes, they have an ongoing deal for the controller as long as the controller has batteries in it. Why would you not go with one of the best battery suppliers in the world? To me, it makes perfect sense. It was just a strange one, but we'll carry on reading. Many took to this to mean that the deal mentioned was the sole reason that Xbox uses AA batteries in its controllers, and some speculated that it could change that fact once the deal finishes. However, sources tell IGN that this is inaccurate. Duracell batteries are included with Xbox controllers, and Xbox have indeed been part of the Duracell OEM partnership program ran by battery manufacturers that appear to be a byproduct of Microsoft's decisions to use batteries rather than cause of it. Again, a Microsoft spokesperson said this, quote, "We initially offer customers choice in their batteries solutions for our standard Xbox wireless controller. This includes the use of AA batteries from any brand, the Xbox rechargeable battery charging solution from our partners, or a USB cable which can power the controller when plugged in to the console or PC." Again, I thought this was an interesting story nonetheless. It wasn't one that I felt that we needed to report on instantly over here at My Xbox and Me, but I get it. We're dry for news right now. Every YouTuber that covers this industry, covers Xbox specifically, is gonna be running to their channels and putting their tinfoil hats on. Me, on the other hand, I prefer a snapback rather than a tinfoil one, so I'll keep wearing those. But what do you guys think? Do you think this actually does implicate that Microsoft has any sort of deal in the back end that we don't know of, or is this just a case of, look, we needed a battery supplier, we used Duracell because they have the best batteries? That's where it goes to in my head, but what do I know? I'm just a guy on the internet, am I right? I am right. Next piece of news, and this one was juicy. This one surprised me big time. Again from Joe Scrabble, shout out, taken from IGN. Before the original Xbox, Microsoft looked into buying EA, Square, Midway, and Nintendo. So we'll keep reading. In an attempt to secure exclusives for the original Xbox, Microsoft unsuccessfully talked about acquiring EA, Square. This was Square before it was Square Enix. Talks about acquiring EA, Square, Mortal Kombat publisher, Midway, and even Nintendo before it found the unexpected trump card of Bungie and Halo. This was all taken from a interview that, it wasn't an interview, sorry, it was like an article that went up on Bloomberg, which was Bloomberg Oral History, about the creation of the original Xbox, that contains a lot more information about Bill Gates shouting at people, and a bunch of stuff. If you haven't read it, definitely go give it a read. There is some very interesting tidbits of information in there, and there's some great writing in there. So go and check that out if you haven't. Again, that's the Bloomberg Oral History. But we carry on. The first company approached was EA, which, due to its dominance in the industry at the time, team members apparently called the Snow White of the rest of the industry Seven Dwarfs. Then the head of the business development, Bob Mabry, says the answer was no thanks before Microsoft turned to Nintendo. Quote, "Steve made us go up to Nintendo to see if they would ever consider being acquired," explained the director of third-party relationships, Kevin Batshu. Quote, "They laughed their asses off. Like, imagine an hour of somebody just laughing at you. That was kind of how that meeting went, end quote. It seems that the teams met more than once, with Mabry adding, quote, "We actually had Nintendo in our building in January 2000 to work through the details of a joint venture where we gave them all the technical specs of the Xbox. The pitch was their hardware stunk, and compared to the PlayStation, Sony's PlayStation, it did. So the idea was, quote, listen, you're much better at the game portion of that with Mario and stuff. Why don't you leave us to deal with the hardware?" But it didn't work out. Look, none of this stuff obviously surprises me personally. Obviously, Xbox, I would say, still to this day, have had an extreme problem with getting their hands on, number one, good quality exclusives. I'm not saying they don't have exclusives, but good top AAA quality exclusives. Beyond, Gears, Halo, Forza. Again, they've had some little gems here and there. What else can we really point to, even in today, 2021, and go, that's why you buy an Xbox? Forget this whole conversation of you can play it on PC. A lot of people don't like PC. It's too complicated, don't want to play keyboard and mouse, etc., etc. Look at the portfolio now in 2021. It looks a little bit different. It's just time for these studios to actually show what they can do. But this is interesting stuff to me. It's never surprised me that Xbox would want to join forces with Nintendo. Why wouldn't they? Again, like the article said, which is well written by Joe Screbbles, they have the games, Xbox have the hardware, come together, Xbox then get the games that they have always wanted, which, unfortunately, as much as it pains me to say, I'm not into a lot of Nintendo games, but you can't take away from the legacy and the history that their games have. Very similar to PlayStation in a way, which is just something that Xbox has always struggled with. Like, I think the things that come to mind for me is like Blink's the cat as like if we did a Battle Royale All-Stars game, like, he would be one of the characters I'd pitch to get in there. So, yeah, it's a hard one. It's an extremely hard case, and definitely can understand why they tried to acquire all of the studios that were mentioned, especially Nintendo. Nintendo obviously being the biggest of them, but I would love to have them. I would love to have seen them get Midway or Square at the time before it was Square Enix. Like, that would have really changed the landscape of gaming and what Xbox could have done. They really could have competed with the original Xbox, especially. And then again, it's that hard one where technically Xbox did really well in the Xbox 360 to PS3 generation, but PlayStation still won if you look at it on terms of numbers of units sold, which is crazy. But they did have so many different versions of that damn PlayStation. I remember they had like the thick one, and then you had the skinny one, then you had the bloody the cheese toasty maker. But there was a bunch of them. There were so many goddamn PlayStation 3s out there for people to buy. There was just it was an interesting market. It still is today. Now I look back and I'm looking at what Xbox own, and I go, who's next? I don't think they're done. As much as I think people think they're done, I don't think PlayStation are done buying studios, and I definitely don't think that Xbox are done buying studios. Game Pass is just started. Like, I think we forget that when you look at Game Pass and then you look at what it has become, it's already 10 steps to where Netflix was when Netflix was what it was in its original state, right? Because obviously Xbox had the blueprint to go, okay, that's what they did. We'll jump forward 10 steps and just jump straight to there. Wait until we get, I feel like xCloud isn't quite out there yet, because obviously it's not on Apple products, so that matters to me a lot. I understand a lot of you listening may be Android users. Don't come for me, I understand. But yeah, we're in an interesting space. A really, really, really interesting space that only time will tell what Xbox will do, how they will purchase, who they will purchase, and what that means for the industry. But a healthy competition between Xbox, Nintendo, and PlayStation is better for everybody. That way we get more competition, we get better pricing, we get better consoles. Someone is always doing something different, aka Nintendo. And we just see where the chips fall. We see where the chips fall. Moving on to our next story. A bit of sad news for anyone who is interested for this game, but Outriders has been delayed. This one's from Tom Phillips over at Eurogamer, who says, Outriders, the next game from Bulletstorm Studio, People Can Fly, has been delayed until January 1st, in brackets, no joke. The sci-fi shooter has been due to arrive in just under a month on 2nd of February, now published by Square Enix. Interesting. I didn't know that. I didn't know it was published by Square. Good to know. Has announced a demo for Outriders, which will arrive first on the 25th of February, which will let you try the game for its initial hours and testing out each of the classes. You'll also be able to play in co-op and carry over your character's progress in the full game. For those who want to read the full thing, let me quickly read that for you, what they posted on Twitter. Happy New Year! We believe it's important that the players get to experience a new IP like Outriders before release, so that you can decide for yourself whether the game is something you wish to pre-order, purchase, or play. For this reason, we're excited to announce that on February 25th, 2021, we will be publishing a free demo giving everyone the chance to play the first few hours of the game with all 4 classes in both single-player, co-op, along with seamless migration of your character and progression to the full game. 2 seconds, let me have a sip of water. That's some good H2O. Where was I? Speaking of which, we've decided to move the release of Outriders to April 1st, no joke. We will spend this extra time fine-tuning the game and focusing on delivering a fantastic play experience at launch. Thanks for hanging tight a little longer. We appreciate your patience. The Outriders team. I've just noticed that it's super out on the video version. I apologise. I don't have a producer here doing all this stuff on the fly for me. So, don't at me, children, or adults, or whoever you may be. I'm trying my hardest to put a show on here with COVID. Alright? But nonetheless, I was so like I said, I was looking through the list of games that were coming out, right? So January, February, I do it every year. So I'll look through the list of games that are coming out. I write them down in a Google Doc, so I know which ones I'm interested in playing, and then I sort through all the other ones. Obviously, with trying to get the team together for my Xbox and me, it's who can review this, who can do that, etc., etc., etc. Outriders was one of those games that I was like, I'll probably play it because there's nothing else coming out that is new, and I've kind of cleared what I actually care about, apart from Assassin's Creed, through my back catalogue. So I was like, okay, I'll give this one a chance. So I'm bummed in a way that it has been delayed, but I also like the fact that we're going to get to try it out for free and actually see if it's something that I actually even care about. Because I imagine they're going to give you maybe 3 hours of content here. I feel like it'll be like the first initial area, and then like something to do within like those first few hours, and then the whole loop of it is to try out each of the classes to see if you actually find a class that you jive with and actually care about. So if there's like a level, if it's got leveling and there's a level cap to it, that'd be dope, because then you could do all of the classes, etc. Stuff like that. I don't know, man. To me, it seems like a good one. Seems like a good idea for what they've done. Obviously, got no problems with them delaying the game. If the game's not ready, don't put the game out. But I like the idea of what they've done here, which is like, it's not a beta, it's just a free demo. It's not, there's no information here beyond that. It's just a case of, this is what it is, and should you care about it, you can. Here you go. Games with goal for January. Sorry, I'm a liar. It's Game Pass games coming January. You've got Injustice 2 added January 7th. Football PES 2021, January 7th. The Little Ace Arc. ACRE. How'd you say that? Acery? Acery? Acre? Thank you very much. Head me off to the side with the assist. January 7th. Torchlight 3 added January 14th. Cyber Shadow added January 26th. And of course, the one that I'm excited about the most, the Medium, added January 28th on Xbox Series X and PC only. Games that are leaving Game Pass as of this recording will be next week for you guys. So My Friend Pedro leaving January 15th. Sword Art Online will be leaving January 15th. And Tekken 7 will also be leaving January 15th. Well, there isn't much more news. I think there's one more news story that I want to talk about, but I forgot to bring it up during when I was getting the news all together. So let me quickly find it and talk about it. So some of you may already know this, but Xbox put out their like a feeder about the new controllers, right? And they were talking about Xbox getting like DualSense triggers. So I'm trying to find that story. Xbox PS5 controller. Maybe it will. Do I get a new story? Can you give me something? Something. Oh. No, I ain't got nothing. Alright, well, from what I can remember, Xbox has put out there that would Xbox players... Here we go, I found one. Shout out to NME, who has got the article. Ooh, came in clutch there. Thank you very much. Microsoft asked Xbox players what PS5 controller features they would want to see. This one's from Daniel Holes. Microsoft has asked Xbox Series X owners, or Xbox Series owners, I should say, whether they would be interested in seeing DualSense features available on the system. An Xbox survey has been distributed to owners who have picked up one of the recent consoles. I gotta be honest, I didn't get included in this. Maybe I just don't pay attention. With one question in particular being asked to whether players are interested in the DualSense controller features. As discovered by Tech Radar, the DualSense currently has the ability, you know what it does, it has adapted triggers and things like that, alright? I don't need to go into that for you guys. Xbox controller, Microsoft have asked fans if they, quote, aware of features on the PlayStation controller, and if they, quote, wish they were on the controller that came with their console, end quote. Other questions were also highlighted whether the customer are satisfied with the new share button, etc, etc, etc. Now, I think what this does is it opens a question to us here at the My Xbox and Me audience. Do we feel slighted, number one, that our controller is exactly the same other than a button in the middle? Me, personally, no. I couldn't give a crap. I love the Xbox Series controller. I think it does its perfect job. As someone who wants to buy a new Series 2 controller, that will probably become my main controller anyway. So for me, I don't feel slighted, and I love playing games on the Xbox controller. That being said, I will say, anytime I play games on a PS5, I do have this weird... this is new, this is different, and I've said this time and time again on the podcast, and I'll keep saying it until I'm blue in the face, which is, it just always feels new. Nah. Would having new features on a controller have made the Xbox Series X feel newer than it already does? I think it would have, personally, for me. It would have just added something a little bit. To me, it's like a good bolognese, right? You stick with me, everybody. I'm going to take you on a ride. It's like a good bolognese. Nah, you got your pasta. You got your sauce. You got your meat. That's cool. That's a great bolognese, right? You throw it all together. You mix it about. You add your tomatoes. You do what you do. That's good. It tastes good. It tastes perfect. It's a bolognese. But then you add some chili flakes. Then you get some... What's that stuff I used to... A little bit of parsley. A little bit of parsley over the top of that bolognese. It's different. It's the same, but it's different, you know? It tastes different. It feels different. It smells different. Everything comes together a little bit more. It's not that bland bolognese that you were getting from your mum. It's a different bolognese. That's all I feel like this is. I want a different bolognese. So I, for one, would love to see a controller that has these features, but in the same breath, I also don't want to pay for it. It's that weird thing where I like the fact that the PlayStation 5 comes with that. Now that Xbox haven't already done that, they're going to expect another $60 or £60 out of us to get this new fancy controller. Do I really want to pay for it for adaptive triggers? No. Do I want the adaptive triggers though? Yes, but only in my single player experiences. I don't want it in Call of Duty. I don't want it in any shooters. Maybe in my maybe it would have enhanced my COD single player experience. I did beat that over the weekend. I forgot to mention that. I did beat that this week. Or was it last week? Man, the days just run together. Oh no, I'm rambling. A lot to think about. A lot to think about. Shout out to your mum if she makes, or your dad, or your sister, your brother, cousin, whoever. Shout out to any family member who makes a good bolognese though. Shout out to them. That's it for this week's My Xbox and Me. I apologise, I could only get 30 minutes. I'm absolutely cream-crackered knackered. I'm trying my hardest to keep shows coming out for you guys. If you think these are a waste of time, if you think they're a waste of space, if you don't think we should do them, please let me know. If you are someone that thinks we should do them though, you keep enjoying them. When there's more news, I can keep talking about more stuff. But unfortunately, like I said, our Discord got hacked, so all the questions from that got deleted. I'm not feeling great, so I didn't ask for more questions on Twitter. This is just a bad week. Again, I try and put the best show I can together for you guys. I'm always here if you need me. You can follow me everywhere at MCFixer. Until next time, I love you. I really do. I appreciate each and every one of you. And if you want to join our team, check out my Twitter because I just posted something about it. Goodbyes.